Hi everyone, welcome back to Java on for All. In this video, we are going to start talking about JDBC. That means Java Database Connectivity. And we are going to need a database for that. So we are not going to go over the details about what is database and how we should map the entities and everything. So I'm just going to focus on the JDBC part. So I advise you, if you are completely new and you don't understand what is database, what is a database server, I would advise you to do a little bit of research before continuing. So we are going to use MySQL for this course. There are several different options for databases. We could have used Oracle, SQL Server. We have MySQL, we have Postgres, but in my case, I will just go with MySQL. And you have two options here. One is to go to dev.mysql.com/downloads/installer and install the MySQL, if you are using Windows, the MSI. And the second option, the one that I'm going to do in this course, is using Docker. So Docker, it's a pretty complex topic to talk about in a light way. But if I had to summarize about what is Docker, you can say in very, very dummy terms that Docker is kind of a lightweight way to have virtual machines. For example, this is one of the most famous pictures. Every time you see or you watch something related to Docker, you are going to see this comparison between virtual machines and containers. So basically, what the Docker is trying to solve here, and actually is doing a pretty good job, is when we are talking about virtual machines, for example, using VirtualBox or using VMware, you have your infrastructure, you have your computer, your processor, you have your memory, and then now you have the hypervisor and your guest OS, the virtual machines that needed to be inside each one of the virtual machines. So in this case here, if we want to have 3 separate virtual machines, we would need 3 different operating systems. So if you are having 3 windows, can you imagine, like each one of the windows, the amount of resources they need, plus of course the operating system that's close to your infrastructure. So you are sharing all the resources. And basically, when we talk about Docker, when we talk about containers, that's the technology that kind of replaces, open quotes and close quotes, the virtual machines, is the part that you can see here in green. So the Docker engine is like just a system, it's like a process that will run. And instead of having to install a guest OS for each one of the containers, they are going to share the resources from the operating systems without the need for you to install a completely new guest OS. So most of the things that the operating system has when we are talking about containers and Docker is shared. So that's why if you take a look here, there is no need for other guest OSs. But of course, when we are talking into details about Docker, you still have the operating system is kind of the base, because otherwise your application would not be able to run. But the difference is you don't have like a whole operating system. So it's a very complex topic, but the way I'm going to do here in the course is pretty straightforward. We just need to start the MySQL instead of starting installing the process natively like we have here. We are going to run in a container. And the difference is, if I just want to stop, I just kill the container. I don't have to uninstall, or I don't have to check if I have, for example, the MySQL process running here in my task manager. So how can we install the Docker engine that will create the containers, manage the containers for us? You just search for Docker community, because it's the free version, and the first link, get Docker. Then you go to Docker desktop, you choose the distribution you are using, and then you click over here, Docker desktop for Windows. Then I already downloaded, I'm just going to install. Usually there is some reboots required, because there are some, in most cases for Windows, you need to enable something in your BIOS. So if we have to do that, probably Docker is going to tell us. So as you can see here, just install required Windows components, and then if you want shortcut, I don't want, I will just uncheck and then press OK. So unfortunately, it's pretty heavy. If you have like a computer with low processing power or not enough memory, if you have like 4 gigabytes of RAM, I would say go for MySQL. If you have 8, I think you are in a pretty good shape to install Docker. Even though it's a complex topic, I would advise you to start checking out, especially if you are starting your career. I believe you are either starting or you are a developer learning Java. But if you are starting your career, just start looking into this because it makes difference when you are searching for a job. When you are like a junior or you are just in an entry level and you have Docker in your resume, that you understand what is Docker containers, Docker image, how Docker works in general, it makes a huge difference between the chances of getting hired or just having your resume bypassed. So this may take a while. I'm gonna pause the video, and once it finishes, I will come back. Okay, so the installation succeeded. I will click close, and then I'm going to search for Docker community. Actually, it's Docker desktop. And you're going to see a whale right here somewhere, or you were supposed to see a whale. There you go. So looks like I have to enable something in my BIOS. I'm going to stop the video and then I will go there, enable, and then come back. So see you in a bit. So I'm back. I just enabled the virtualization in my BIOS or BIOS, and then I'm going to try and run Docker desktop again. As you can see, my Docker engine is starting. I'm not sure if you're seeing something here. In my case, I'm already signed in because I was doing some videos for Spring Boot Essentials course, and then probably some configuration was already started on my computer, but probably you have the sign in symbol right here. Okay, looks like everything started successfully. If you see your icon like this, no errors and everything green, it means that your Docker engine is running successfully. As you can see, I have a completely new Docker engine. There are no images, no environments, absolutely nothing. So we can get started in the next video by setting up what we are going to call Docker compose file to have an easier way to start our MySQL in a Docker container. So I hope you enjoyed. Let's continue in the next video. Bye.